when does it happen in terms of days, months, or is there any associate with the months, with any associate with the season? So floody season or summer season, in winter, or any such association is there? Then how does the health problem, disease or condition occur? Sources of infection, susceptible groups, which are the susceptible groups? All these things actually we have to consider. Then other contributing factors, etc. So these are actually the primary things we have to answer and before going to a modeling problem. Next. The general dynamics, individuals pass from one class to another with the passage of time. Then the mathematical model actually tries to capture this flow by using compartments. Next. So the basic reproductive ratio, that is actually one of the important determinants whether an infection can occur, and it determines whether disease will progress or not. Growth rate of the infection, speed of the disease progression, then asymptomatic period, then determines time to progress to disease, necessary effort to controlling the ratio parameters, we can control the disease. So all these actually depend on the reproductive ratio R0. Next. So this is just a description. Now this is an illustration, demonstration. So if R0 equal to 2, so from one person it goes to 2, then it multiplies to 4, and so on. So transmission rate. So if it is 1.5, it will not be so speedy. If it is 3, certainly from 3 to goes to 9, and so on. So it is going as 2 square something. Next. So if it is 1.5, it is actually on the average 1.5%. So from to 3, then 3, and so on. So that way we can have such a model, certainly. Okay, so R0 is actually the main determinant of the propagation, the speed of the propagation, the quantity of the propagation, etc., the rate of propagation. Next. This is actually what we are trying for. All models are trying to arrive at the dynamics. So where is the maximum? When will the maximum will be attained? When will it come down? So during COVID season, the governments were all trying to flatten the curve. So flattening means there is not much rise afterwards. Then we were trying to bring it down so that it will come under a controlled limit. So that is actually, so the upper limit is actually here, A, and so on. So that way, we are actually considering this for different values of R0. So how we can come down, make it under control or eliminate it. Next. So one of the most commonly used models was actually the SIR model. SIR means, S means susceptible, I means infected, R means recovered or deceased. So here actually we are having some differential equations. Susceptible will be marked by ds by the rate is actually the ds by dt is equal to minus beta Si divided by n. Then infected also, there is also a differential equation. Then the recovered dr by dt is equal to gamma into I. So this way we are having 3 compartments. This is a 3 compartment model, SIR model. Next. Then SIRD model. Then here we are actually recovered and deceased were actually somewhat in the same group. So susceptible, infected, recovered, and deceased. So we are having 4 compartments. So starting with the susceptible, then some persons get infected, then some persons get recovered, but some persons dies, deceased. So R and D, that is actually splitting. So next one. So the SIR model is based on 2 parameters, beta and gamma. Beta is the susceptible infected contact results in a new infection is the transmission rate. Gamma, that is the rate at which an infected person recovers and move into the resistant phase called recovery rate. The basic reproduction number is actually R0 equal to beta divided by gamma. So these 2, beta and gamma, are main determinants, or they actually determines R0. Next. These are actually the fundamental differential equations which you have to solve, and the total number, that is actually n equal to susceptible plus infected plus recovered. So that is equation number 5. Next. So result and discussion, a model representation of the SIR model is shown here. So that way, so it starts, then comes down, and somewhat you are at the perfect recovered stage. Next one. So SIRD model, So there you are having different differential equations, equation number 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we are having these things. We have to consider this is actually the mathematical way of solving this. Next, come to next one. Next, in Italy and China, the SIR model actually worked in this way. So as far as the first one is actually for Italian population and the second is actually for China population. So they are actually, as far as Italian model is concerned, it increases, it then comes down by 29.8, 2021. Then regarding the Chinese model also somewhat the same way. Next one. This is another one. Predicted evolution and the total number of confirmed infected people for the COVID-19 in Italy. Next. Then, so we are considering two periods. The first one, the reproduction number R0 was found to be 1.012. Then this is the growth. In the period 2, it slightly increased to 1.113. Then also the increase is little bit speedily or high. Next one. So SIR model. So this model is a compartmental model in which individuals are separated into 3 compartments, and the differential equations are there. And next one. So this data is available in Colab. Next one. So these are actually the details, only some studies up to during Chowdhury 2020 and so on. Next we can come to the next one. So logistic growth curves were actually considered by some statisticians. Then so mathematicians were just depending on the SIR and SIR model. So susceptible, exposed, infection and recovery. Then susceptible, infection and recover model. So these were the mathematical models, but statisticians used curve fitting and the logistic growth models, etc., due to the exponential nature of the growth of the epidemic. Coming to the next slide. SIR model. So SIR model is also was very popular during that period, and they actually considered the susceptible, exposed, symptomatic, infected, then asymptomatic infected. So under treatment, that is you recover. Here we separate the U compartment into hospitalized and quarantined. So that way we can think of various compartments and we can get better models. Next, come to next slide. This is also the equations and the process estimated only. Next one. So in the Indian scenario, in India, the spread of the coronavirus was accelerated with the new cases, and Kerala was actually the first place where we had a confirmed positive case. That was in January 30, 2020. And as of December 10, 2021, India had confirmed around 1 lakh people. Then afterwards, what you can say, more than, so in the end, more than 4,75,000 deaths or so we have noticed. And next one. So this is actually a paper which was published by our students and the CMC Vellore team under the leadership of Professor Jayasheelan. Okay, thank you. Just for information. Just one. So this is actually the model. So as far as their model was concerned, their model was found to be somewhat very exact one for Kerala case. Next. For the Indian situation. And the second wave of COVID occurred, you remember, with Omicron and other things. SARS-CoV-2. So that was actually during April 19, 2021 onwards. The second wave in comparison to the first created more havoc and so on. Next. So Omicron. So that was the terminology used. And India has reported a total of 32 cases of Omicron variant. And there also, so the more concern was there. It was found to be, the virus was found to be more strong, you can say. So inferences based on known mutations and preliminary observations suggest that Omicron may spread more quickly and elude antibodies more easily than prior variants, resulting in an increase in the number of cases according to the data from prior vaccinated people have a considerably less chance of serious sickness. Certainly, vaccination helped in preventing or in reducing the numbers at that time to some extent. Next. So usually, how to measure these things? So the usual measure is actually crude fatality rate. So in the crude fatality rate, we are actually considering, so here we have considered the Yoshikura technique. So the evaluated Yoshikura estimate is compared along with the general equation of CFR to check the precision of the model. Next one. And I have considered time series forecasting also here. So CFR is beneficial to find the severity of the COVID. And as far as time series model is concerned, it is helpful for forecasting future values actually. Next one. So here we have considered data from GitHub repository provided from March 2020, and the variables included confirmed cases, cured cases, and deaths. And this data was actually used for calculating CFR and then to forecast using these time series models.